And welcome to the Main Event Sports Show. I'm your host, Haven Harrington. We got a studio full of main eventers here, starting with Quadruple A, Rashawn Myers.
What's up, man?
Yeah, I need more hype than that. It's football season.
What's happening? It's football season, baby. Yeah!
That's what I'm talking about.
All right.
Ill Will, the engineer. Reverend Rail, the Imperial One.
What's good? Another show, another day here. Let's go.
My man, let's do this. First up, for all you good people out there watching the Main Event Sports Show right now, if you would like some main event swag like this, a t-shirt if you will, or a main event hat of your choosing, it's simple. We'll give it to you for free. All you have to do is go subscribe to our YouTube channel, and once we reach 1,500 subscribers, we'll put 2 names out the hat, and you'll get your choice of a t-shirt or a hat.
And the hats actually come with the logos on it.
Yes. This is just like a blank hat, but we actually put the main event logo on it, designed by my man Ill Will here.
Thank you.
Hey, man, props. And
Very
speaking of
talented
props,
young
he can do it all. He can engineer, fix toilets, clean the sewer system.
Don't call me. Don't call me.
He's doing
Don't
it all.
at me. What Talib say, don't at me.
And can MC.
And he mimes on the weekend.
That's right. And break dances.
Don't get catering.
That's right. And caters.
Don't forget he runs the 400 meters.
And he's a track star.
Rail has been digging into me.
He's been on it, man.
No Speedo. He has been digging into me.
I know, right? But hey, first topic of conversation. Clemson, Georgia. I'm joking with you.
No, it might be a better topic.
Everybody switch.
You know, right? No, man, but look, the start of college football season. I know last week we had a couple of kickoffs of some horrible games. Scott Frost, good to know you, bruh. Hope you enjoy employment at the end of the season, if you make it that far. Jim Harbaugh, maybe join them if you can't beat Ohio State.
Haven's man.
Or you know what? You're right.
Haven's dude.
You're right. I thought John Harbaugh was going to do it. I thought he was going to do it. He had a pretty good NFL career. He's pretty good at Western. You know, I thought he had it, but man, I mean, you cannot be the coach of Michigan and then get
his dad coached Western.
whatever.
Jack Harbaugh
He was there too.
Western.
He was there. All the Harbaughs were there at one point. But man, but you just can't.
You just can't. Any chance you get to shit on Western, you just
No.
take that opportunity, right?
No.
Western ain't got nothing to do with this conversation. You just had to pull them into
Man,
it.
look. That's what the Harbaughs kind of got there. That's the Harbaugh pipeline.
Yeah.
What started at Western.
Yeah,
And then I Willie Tagg right behind him. The Harbaugh pipeline was
Very
right
true.
there.
Very true.
So
You
I
talking
had to
about
go pipes.
Middle?
Western Kentucky.
What was that? Western Middle University?
Gotcha. Yo, your Tark 3 outside. Get busy.
Your Tark 3's out there too. Shit, you the only person I know who then came with a kickstand.
Triple fight.
I told y'all it was real.
This show is falling off the rails.
It's off the rails already. What, 3 minutes in?
Let's talk about what's most important, man. U of L.
Ole Miss.
University of Louisville takes on Ole Miss.
They do. I think Louisville
This
is going to surprise
Monday.
a lot of people this weekend.
Really?
They in
Nope.
the big lights.
But I hope that they come out and put on a show
Listen.
and exceed expectations. I'm really hoping that. I think that, like we talked about in the previous 2 shows, that if they just come out and show up and give, Ole Miss a good game, I think the fans can walk away proud. And that's what I'm hoping to happen.
Hey, for me, I think that, that's just as far as my first impressions, Monday Night Football. Monday Night Football has been an establishment for a long time. And Louisville's going to play the only Monday Night Football game in college of the year. So, I mean, the cachet that comes with playing on Monday night, you can't beat that. You're going to be the only game in town.
That's it, baby.
You're
It's all
be
you.
wearing those all reds that they announced that they're going to wear, 8 p.m. ESPN with the Ace crew. This is an opportunity for Louisville to go out there, and if they put their best foot forward, this is the type of thing that can springboard you if you can come in, because Ole Miss is getting a lot of hype. That their quarterback is being considered maybe the best quarterback in the SEC and one of the best quarterbacks in the country. So, when you look at the opportunity to play a team that everybody's been hyping up and everybody's been talking about, Louisville's got an opportunity.
They have a big opportunity, a huge opportunity to completely change the narrative of this program. Last year, things didn't quite go our way. We get that, they win. Wasn't the best of seasons. It was the best of times. It was just the worst of times. Forget it. It's just the worst of times. It was horrible.
That's right.
Yes, Scott Satterfield trying to go to USC Junior, and then come back and denied it. Then his press conference said, "You know what? If a North Carolina school calls me, I'm listening."
Yeah, that wasn't a good look.
So now he has to rebuild all those bridges, and that's the biggest thing. You talk about, this game is a chance on national television to kind of to change the narrative, and and as you said, if they play well, that the fans get behind them. This game to me is also about Scott Satterfield is going to have to repair the burnt bridges that he burnt last year with the fan base. I talk to a lot of guys. I read a lot of Twitter messages. I get emails and everything else. Fans are still mad at Scott for last year.
They should be.
I mean, going 3-9 is one thing. Losing is one thing. We can kind of be like, all right, well, okay, we get it. Okay, it's COVID year. We can get losing. But we can't get having a horrible season and then try to jump ship.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, but you know what? The only way he's going to do it is win it, right?
That's it. He has to win.
Even still, you can try to repair all the burnt bridges you want to, but if you got kids on your team that are not trusting the process, following the program to the letter, willing to play their part, then there's no need. You're still going to end up with a dismal season if you do not have players that buy into the system that you are trying to implement.
Well, I think that's a big part of where Scott Satterfield is a big culture guy. He was a big culture guy at App State, and that was something that I think really helped the turnaround the first year for Louisville, is that he believes in a lot of team building. He believes in a lot of bringing the players together and building that brotherhood. And I think that, seriously, because I think that last year with the shutdown, with them not being together, not being around their teammates, they couldn't even go into film rooms together. I think that really hurt what Scott Satterfield has built all his football success on. So that's why.
You think that hurt it?
Oh, Sean.
Is that what?
No, I think that
when you have a rebuttal to that.
I just think that because that's such a big part of what he does and how he builds his team every year. When you lose the whole spring, you lose the whole summer.
Well,
and
actually,
Louisville
got most of spring practice in before COVID shut them down.
They got
the
most
first 2.5 weeks.
They got most of the spring practice in, and then on top of that, Rashawn, there is a thing called Zoom.
But it's not the same.
It's not the same, but other teams built their chemistry.
And while I
understand
understand that
and all of this camaraderie, how does that reflect on you when you do what you did in response to that?
I mean, that's
what type of brotherhood?
That's an excellent question. That's an excellent question.
You're trying to sell us a use
I think that the thing that you have to look at is you got to see how this guy has built his team and what's made him successful, and it's been complete buy-in. Rel, you talked about
what
it.
teams are we talking about? App
State? His teams at App State and his first team at Louisville. Those teams believed without a doubt that coaching staff was willing to run through a wall for them. And that's how they played. That's how they went and won 8 games that first year.
And with that being said, like I said, if Louisville does that, they will be able to have a good 7-5, maybe 8-4 season.
Negative.
I agree. I mean,
we'll
see.
They may be able, but I'm going to tell you, Monday night's game will really determine the kind of season they have.
Now, I'm not, again, like I said, I hope that these freshmen, these true freshmen that we have out on the field, come out and exceed expectations tremendously. They will have to in order for this season to be what we wanted to be. But again, beyond what we have on the front lines that nobody is talking about is our depth. Okay, we got Cunningham. Who's his backup?
Evan Conley.
And what you know about him?
This would be his 3rd year with the team. He did play as a true freshman and also played a couple games last year.
He played pretty well as a true freshman.
He's got some experience, but he's not had a lot of time on the field. But he's had more than most.
We got this O-line and this D-line. We got true freshmen starting. So what does that say about our backups?
Well, I mean, actually, don't have any true freshmen in the first line, but you do have Ashton Gelati, who was a big, one of the big talks of the summer, and fall camp as a guy who was on the freaks list for some of the things he was able to do in terms of his weightlifting.
And
he is in the 2 deep.
He's not a true freshman
at defensive end. He is a true freshman,
but he's not starting.
But he's not starting.
Okay.
Because
last week you said we had some.
We had some redshirt freshmen.
Well, you have some freshmen that will play. You have Ramon Perrier, who's a redshirt freshman, who's actually been here 3 years because last year didn't count. So it's actually his 3rd year in the program, but he's still listed as a redshirt freshman. That will be starting at defensive end. So we'll have to take a look and see how he does. He was, like I said, a former walk-on from Eastern, but from all accounts, he's been excellent. All fall camp. So, I think that Louisville's got some nice starters. They don't have any true freshmen that are actually starting in the 2 deep. They do have some true freshmen that are listed. Ben Perry is listed as the backup strong safety, who's a true freshman as well, as Josh Minkins, who, of course, played last year, but is still considered a freshman. Louisville has a lot of freshmen this year because guys,
shout out to Mama Minkins.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
But, yeah, I think that depth is going to be the question of, are these freshmen really ready to play? The guys that are in that 2 deep. And that's been the whole talk. The whole talk has been depth on the defensive line is better. There's more talent there. They said that they believe they have 9 legit offensive linemen that can play, which is something that they haven't had since they've been here.
When has this
we'll see.
started being said? Because this is the first I'm hearing of any of this.
If you actually paid attention to the press conferences that they have, throughout the summer.
I don't.
That's why I'm advising you. So they've been talking about it. They have.
They talk about it all every year. They say.
Yeah. The new offensive line.
That's
coach,
why I don't listen to it.
Well, you have to break down something. People want to know what's going on with their football team.
I'm gonna break you down.
Well, yes, sir.
It's time for the pause. We got to go to break.
We got to go to break.
Yes, we do.
Hey, yeah,
So
we
we
got
got
some
10
bills to
seconds.
pay. Say, we'll be right back. We're going to finish up talking about this Louisville football talk. And we're going to give you our thoughts of the MVPs on offense and defense. And we'll also, maybe talk about a little UK as well as some other big games that are coming up. And welcome back to Main Event Sports Show. Like we promised before the break, let's continue with our UofL breakdown. Now, you know what, Will? I know you gave Louisville a lot of blues right before the break, man.
Oh, man.
You kind of said that they were trash, a number of
man.
freshmen, they're going to be duty.
Let's talk about Rondo going to the Lakers.
Oh, my
Let's
God.
not talk about Rondo going to the Lakers.
Lakers got Rondo.
No geezers and
Westbrook.
Caesars. Nobody cares.
Carmelo,
That's like-
LeBron,
that's like
Anthony
the-
Davis, Trevor Ariza.
That's like the
Good
oldest
Lord.
team in the NBA. That been a great team like
And
10 years
guess what,
ago.
though?
Oh, my God.
Guess what, though?
They will not come out the West.
We are going to still come out the West.
Oh, my
No,
God.
you won't.
Who is we?
The Lakers.
Oh, yeah, of course.
No.
They still going to win the West. And you know what they're going to do?
Lose.
90% of the team are going to retire.
Both of these cats is from
after we
Virginia.
win
So
the
if y'all
chip.
want to know why the show turned sideways now,
You know what?
I'm sorry, we're back to Louisville. Let's do
You know,
it.
it makes you feel better.
They can't
Let's
help
go
themselves.
back to
No,
the
hold on, hold
Sally
on.
in the
Hold on.
Valley that got
Hold on, it
caught
makes you
out
feel
in
better.
the
We talk about some Virginia Tech. University of Virginia. We talk about some Virginia Tech.
Nah, let's get back
You
to
know,
Louisville.
Virginia Tech has been good since Vic left. They've been suspect ever since.
Wow.
Let's get back to
That was
Louisville.
unnecessary.
But it's so true.
Okay.
Ever since Beamer retired and Vic left,
Ladies and gentlemen, I would
I'm
like
just saying.
I would
Yeah,
like you
yeah,
all
one
to
or-
ignore
one or two good
Madam
seasons.
Haven.
What's the over-under on
She's
Louisville's output this week?
Louisville is a 10-point dog in the game.
No. I'm talking about your opinion.
Like the spread.
Since
what
you
the
know
point
so much
spread
about all
should be?
these numbers and stuff.
Well,
tell
I
us
was
what you
gonna I
think.
was gonna save that to our pick segment
At the end.
At the end with our
Okay.
celebrity guest picker, Leanne Henry,
Yeah.
which will be on later.
Yeah, save it.
yeah, we can't give
They
everything.
are a 10-point dog.
The 10 point
Okay,
down. But that's
so-
okay though
so-
because
Who would you say will be the offensive MVP for Louisville?
I mean, for me, it's always easy to say Malik Cunningham because he's the quarterback. He's going to be the guy who has the ball. He runs it. He throws it. But I'm actually going to say that the guy that I expect to have a good, a big time impact is Jaylen Mitchell. I think that Jaylen Mitchell is a different type of running back than what Louisville had with Javian Hawkins. But I think because he is such a bruiser, and the fact that Louisville has so many running backs in the stable, they have Mitchell, they have Hassan Hall, they have Travion Cooley, the freshman, the 4-star freshman. They're going to have fresh bodies that they can throw. And I think with a big physical back like Mitchell, who goes 6'3", about 235, He's not, he's a big boy that, in the second half, if Louisville's able to continue to run downhill, because Satterfield loves to run that football, I think he can be a monster in the second half of games.
Okay, what say you, Will?
About this coming weekend?
About this coming
Monday
weekend,
night's
who's
game?
going to be the MVP in your opinion? Offensively.
I would have to definitely go with Malik Cunningham. He has to be the MVP, is my attitude towards the game, in order for Louisville to see the type of success they're going to need to put on an impressive game.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you know what? I agree with Will. I'm gonna go Malik because he's a trigger man. The wide receiver core comes in this year with some question marks. There's some guys on there you're kind of not sure what they can and can't do. The two best wide receivers are now in the NFL.
In the NFL, right.
So, you kind of starting over with a fresh crew, so it's kind of a question mark there. But everything this whole offense runs through Malik. If he can run the ball himself pretty well.
Or just catch a rhythm is what I feel is going to be necessary. For him to catch a rhythm, for the team to trust his instinct. Again, if they start to kind of fall apart and think, it might get kind of ugly. But as long as he can maintain his composure, catch a rhythm, that O-line can block for him, I think they have a pretty good chance. But I think it's all going to come down. It's all going to fall on his shoulders, as it should.
He's the quarterback.
For me, the MVP is going to be the offensive line.
All of them.
They have 4 returning starters from last year's team. They have the transfer center from Virginia Tech. And
Now you had to mention him.
These guys, these guys, they all gel together well. So
as we saw, FDKY.
Would it be in that way? I feel like as long as they're able to protect Malik and open holes for a running back game by committee, not just one single running back. It's going to be a committee of running backs for Louisville that they're going to have to use in order to slow this game down, because we're talking Ole Miss, a fast-paced team that likes to spread you out and get the ball around. You know what I'm saying? So if they can do that and keep Curl and that offense off of the field, Louisville has a good chance.
Looks like Brian Gumble over there, man. Look at you breaking it down.
Hell left the gate open.
I don't know, but I'm fitting to walk through.
Reverend Rail, folks.
Man, Brian Gumble just came hard.
I love it. Haven, what do you think?
Father Brian Gumble.
Malik.
You guys well took Malik. You just going to just.
And you know what? And I agree
What
with
about
him.
any of the wide receivers? Or any of the wide receivers stand out?
You know what? Okay, I'm gonna tell you what. So when I look at the depth chart and I look at who we have, since I can't choose Malik now, I think it's gonna be him. I'm gonna have to go with Braden Smith as wide receiver.
I like that.
I mean, he played very well last year, even though he didn't get a lot of targets. But the targets he did get, he was very effective on down the field, very effective stretching the field. He's a big, tall wide receiver. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Braden Smith
That's a good call.
as the breakout guy number 2. Justin Marshall, another big, tall, physical, fast wide
Friend of the
receiver.
main event. I always got to shout him out.
So who do you feel is going to be the dark horse on offense?
The dark horse on offense. That's kind of hard to say. Since he's not quote unquote starting, I'm gonna say Hassan Hall's gonna surprise people.
People been waiting for it. I mean,
I'm
he was
gonna
the
say
projected
Hassan Hall.
starter before David Hawkins went crazy. Before he just became sudden, just exploded on the scene. So I think it's good.
And plus, he can punt return too, so
I
he
think
has
the
that
dark
dual
horse
role.
in the game is going to be Louisville's special teams. I think they're going to come up or have to. Again, a lot of this is just based on what I feel needs to happen. Louisville's special teams, I feel like, is going to have to make some very important plays to change the trajectory of the game at very needed times. I think that's what we're going to be. What's going to be necessary, and we need from a lot of people. Everybody's going to have to be ready to go come Monday night.
As far as my dark horse, I looked at a couple of the small, fast guys. I was kind of bouncing between true freshman Amari Huggins-Bruce, who came in with a lot of accolades. But I'm actually going to go with the guy that got all the hype in the summertime, and that's Tyler Harrell. He's a guy who's been around the program for several years, came in with more of a reputation as a great track athlete, a guy who has track speed. He supposedly ran a close to 4.20 at the spring camp. I heard for some people said 4.19. I gotta see that to believe that. But people have talked about Tyler Harrell. They talked about him all camp. They said he's a guy who can take the top off the defense, but can he catch? As a Raiders fan, we used to have a guy named James Jett.
No,
Dude was on the 4x100 relay team.
As a Raiders
could
fan,
not catch a cold.
You guys had nothing but like super fast dudes couldn't catch.
Yeah. I mean, James Jett was one of the fastest dudes ever. He literally, for his career, had like about 4 touchdowns. So, if Tyler can catch the ball, maybe he can make some things happen.
For me, personally, I feel like it's going to be a lot of check downs that's going to need to be done
Okay.
in this game to get the ball out of Cunningham's hand fast. So I feel like a guy like Marshawn Ford
That's a good one.
Oh,
may
man.
show up
Well, breaking
And
it
be-
down.
and
Across
be a
that middle,
real,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, a real force coming across that middle. This is a guy that switched from the halfback position to the tight end position and still plays a little halfback, so he can catch and he's used to the system. So we're going to see what the sophomore can do, but I really think it'll be him.
Ballard High School product.
Just to,
There you go.
I guess reiterate my point. I think a lot is going to fall back, as I've said already, on the special teams to keep us into the game with field goals and things, taking advantage of every opportunity we have to put points on the board.
They have a 26-year-old freshman punter.
Well, look,
26 years old
So
as a
again,
freshman.
to continue with my
Bobby
point, no, I
Boucher?
didn't know that. I didn't know that. But to continue with my
They
point,
took
how
the
well
Lakers
they do.
philosophy with that one.
With, because assuming that they're going to have, a lot of turnover punts,
Yeah.
field position.
Field position's huge.
It's going to be all these things, and it's going to be a game of chess.
Yes.
In order to keep Louisville in that game, and that's why I think special teams is going to matter. So it's going to matter so much. Our special team.
I agree. Now, to flip it to the defensive side for the MVP and dark horse for the defensive side, I do want to say that I think a huge key in this game, everybody's talking about what Ole Miss does passing the ball. They lost Elijah Moore, the second pick in the second round of the NFL draft. This dude accounted for 85% of their receptions. Okay, he was their offense. He was almost like their version of Devontae Parker. People remember how good Parker was for Louisville. When you lose a guy like that, it can take a little while before somebody else steps into that. When you have such a great talent that's now gone to the NFL, I think that Louisville is going to have to stop the run. To me, while yes, Ole Miss does a lot through the air, they're going to lean on their running game early. So I feel Louisville should sell out, stop the run, make those wide receivers have to step up. And that's why my defensive MVP is actually a split between C.J. Avery and Monty Montgomery. Those two linebackers, if they can put the pressure on that running game, get those tackles, keep Ole Miss from being able to move the chains with those easy run yards. They led the SEC in yards per carry and first downs via run last year. So I think that would be huge.
For me, I'm going to go redshirt junior Malik Clark, the nose tackle. Because when you play the type of defense that Louisville plays, normally like a 3-4 defense, that guy in the middle who's supposed to take care of that A-gap, because Ole Miss loves to run the ball.
That's huge.
And you have to be able to stop the run. All comes from the guys up front. The guys up front can't stop the run, or if they can't get pressure on the quarterback, he has too much time to throw. I don't care how good your safeties are. I don't care how good your linebackers are. Somebody's getting open.
Well, for me, I'm going to go with the guy next to Clark, Yaya Debe. Yaya Debe is going to be the difference maker on defense.
Really?
He's going to be the difference maker.
They're talking about he could be possibly first team all ACC.
They said he's going to be first team all ACC, and they predicted that he would have at least 11 and a half sacks this season.
That's going too far.
It starts Monday.
That's going too far. But you know what? Let's do this.
Yes.
Enough of this U of L talk.
Yes.
We need to talk about the best team in the state of Kentucky.
Well, hold on, pause.
We got 26 seconds. I can't pause too much.
Oh, we got 26 seconds.
Yeah.
We'll get to them after.
That's what I was hyping them up.
No, don't hype them.
But after the break,
Hype,
we're
hype.
going to talk to the best team in the state of Kentucky. Yo, UK Wildcats. CATS, cats.
Hey, you're listening to the Plug Network Main Event Sports
Don't
Show.
like
Stay
that.
plugged in.
And welcome back to Main Event Sports Show. I'm your host, Haven Harrington. Rashawn Myers.
Big ups to Brooklyn.
Ill Will.
What's happening?
Reverend Rail, the Imperial One himself.
What's going on?
And for all people out there listening, man, if you like what we do here at the Main Event Sports Show and you want to support us, go to our website, www.maineventsports101.com, and click on Become a Patron. For $3 a month, man, you can make sure we keep on going. We can hire more writers for the website. We can really keep this thing moving and take it to the next level. Boy, we need your help. So go to our website and become a patron.
That's how you do it.
Hey, that's it. And I got teased before the break. Oh, I can't wait to talk about the Stoops Troops, the greatest offensive line in the SEC. Your UK Wildcats playing at the greatness that is Kroger Field in Lexington, Kentucky, in front of the thousands and maybe tens of thousands of fans that would rush the stadium to watch them take on the greatness that is the University of Louisiana Monroe Southeast.
Raging
The
Cajun.
greatness.
Yes,
The greatness.
the greatness that is the Sun Belt's
Man,
finest.
listen, man.
They said if you bring your Kroger Plus card to the field, you can get 2% off your ticket price.
Right.
Hey,
Well,
And
They
I
need to
like
be about
10 of
50%
them.
and
off.
don't forget all
for
the
this
hot
game.
dogs you get in the press. You have all the hot dogs you can eat in the press box, and popcorn.
I mean, but it's no contest. It's not like UK's playing anybody.
Man, I was just being funny. No,
University of
it's
Kentucky,
scrimmage.
outside of Louisville, has one of the worst non-conference schedules in all of college football. Like literally, it's like 112th. I think they rated the non-conference schedules. UK's is like the
I don't
worst.
even want to talk about
Hey, but
it.
you know what? Enjoy those pansies while you can now. So if you're a UK fan, enjoy the season. You know, enjoy beating some of these horrible non-conference teams, because I know it's supposed to be like 2023, 2024 when Texas and Oklahoma officially joined the
Yes.
SEC. But if I was a betting man, I'm going to say next year they'll probably be in the conference ready to go.
And then they'll be going to possibly a 10-game SEC schedule.
Yes. And it's going to get a lot tougher because he's going to have to play. Oklahoma's going to be in your conference on your side, or it's going to be Texas. Hopefully it's Texas, because Texas isn't all that good. If it's Oklahoma, guaranteed L.
Yeah, so for the debut of Will Levis, the new quarterback at Louisville that had the guns down,
No, I mean Kentucky.
Kentucky, the new Kentucky quarterback, he had the little guns down, little emoji or whatever in his picture. Yeah, it should be a pretty easy go of it. Kentucky's going to win. Has 3 pretty much gimme guarantee non-conference games, UL Monroe being the first of which. So not much to do with it.
You know, it's not much. And, you know, with these type of games, you're really not going to learn too much about your team, really. Only thing I would be concerned if I'm a UK fan, I'm watching this game, but the offensive line does not completely dominate, there may be a little worried. Other than that, I really won't worry about too much. It's almost like a preseason game. I really don't expect to see UK do a whole lot.
Let's just line up and run them over.
Yeah, that's what it should be.
Run the ball.
Yeah.
Cavassier Smoke, the best name in the SEC.
Yes, he has the best name in all of football.
Give him the ball. and just
Cavassier
let him
Smoke
run.
is the best name in all of football.
The coldest is the best. I don't know. Can't remember. The young man's first name is literally the coldest. He's from Memphis, and his first
Of course
name
from
is
Memphis.
the coldest.
Of course, it's from Memphis.
I think it's like the coldest Williams. I
No.
believe
But see, but
it.
Cavassier
Like,
Smoke's the
that's
best.
outstanding.
That's your first and last name.
True.
Cavassier Smoke. You can't
True.
get better than that. You can't get better than all. That tells you everything you need to know about his mom.
True.
I probably should have said that on television, but that's too late. Sorry, out there in the atmosphere. Cavassier Smoke, you're my man. I love your name. I wanted the Cavassier Smoke jersey.
That's hilarious.
Now that he's had his little UK rant or whatever, what say you guys?
talking about Virginia
about
Tech
the,
now?
Virginia Tech's gonna win that game. We're not worried about that. We're gonna beat North Carolina and keep it pushing
I thought you was a Carolina fan, though.
for college basketball, sir.
Okay.
He's one of those people that breaks it down.
A hybrid
into the
By
fan.
best,
sport, yeah, by
the
sport.
best teams in every sport. It's like
I mean, when I started liking North Carolina, we weren't the best team at that
Cowboys
time.
fan,
When was
Lakers
this?
We
fan.
were really getting
Alabama
our head
football
bust open
fan.
after Michael left. We were getting our heads bust open. So, but I'm a Cowboys fan, die hard. It doesn't even matter. All those years that we've been struggling, I'm
Long
still
suffering.
a Cowboys fan.
Fair.
I'm proud of you,
Nothing's
man.
gonna change for me. My teams have been my team since I was a little kid, and still gonna be.
Haven, let me ask you something. Is there any
The Cowboys still
national
don't suck this year.
Is there any national college football headlines or thoughts? I know you had an opportunity to talk with one of the well-known, well-versed college football writers.
Oh yeah, I had a chance this Wednesday, and you actually want to have that sound for you guys next week we have up here in my interview with Matt Zimick of TrojanWire.com. He's the editor. He also used to write for CollegeFootballNews.com. Man writes about 100 articles a week on college football. Super well versed. Very, very good. I mean, he has some great insights. We have like a lot of conversation covering the Pac-12 and what does this alliance mean? You had the ACC, Big Ten, Pac-12 alliance. And what does that mean for the Pac-12? And I was like, so is the Pac-12 going to expand? Like, what teams are they going to go after? Because that's the big thing. And he was like, it's not going to happen. The Pac-12 is not going to add any teams because for them it's all about do you fit? Are you a cultural fit? And they look down at everybody else. Because apparently the rumor was Tennessee and Oklahoma approached the Pac-12 first. And the Pac-12 kind of looked down on Texas and Oklahoma because it didn't fit the profile of the rest of the Pac-12, so they wouldn't be bothered with them.
The Pac-12, if Texas and Oklahoma would have said they wanted to go to the Pac-12, best believe they would be in the Pac-12 tomorrow.
I'm just saying.
That sounds good. It's like that's like when the girl shoots you down, you'd be like, I won't go with her anyway.
But they also
that's what that is.
But they also try to have conversations with BYU, which is another great fit. BYU is like Notre Dame, national following, and everything else. But BYU, they don't play anything on Sunday. And that Pac-12 is like, if you can't play games on Sunday, then we can't make this work. That's right. And I did it, just like Chick-fil-A. We ain't playing on Sundays, period. In the story. We talked about they need to fire Helton, the coach of USC, because, that's the marquee program.
I don't know how you can't win at USC. That's
somebody can win in Florida.
Look
at Florida.
That's true.
Will Muschamp, God bless his soul, couldn't win with Florida talent. How can you not win with Florida talent? It's like, how can you not win in Miami? Like, you don't have to recruit anything but Miami. You can literally recruit like 3 high schools in Miami and put together at least a top 25 recruiting class every year.
Miami's going to have a chance to start the season off right. They're taking on #1 Alabama.
You call that a chance?
They're going to have Miami as the number 4. This is the craziest stat for me of the week. And with this game will be a part of our pick segment at the end. But Miami is a 29-point dog. Let me check because that may have actually been updated. Miami is a 19. I said 29. 19 and a half. They're almost a 20-point underdog as the number 14 team in the country to Alabama, bringing in a brand new quarterback that has never played a game. That is amazing to me.
Because Alabama's going to be. It's Alabama. It's a machine.
Unbelievable.
It's like Clemson. It's a machine. It doesn't matter. You plug the next guy. You plug the next 5-star player in there and just keep it going. And that's what they do. You plug the next guy
so
in
is
there.
Is it Alabama's championship or are they the favorites?
It's Alabama and Clemson, like every year.
Both of these teams are breaking it. Mac Jones is now the starting quarterback for the New England Patriots. Horrible decision by the Patriots, by the way, letting Cam go to have a completely untested quarterback take the helm. But I digress.
Didn't do nothing for him either.
Still better than a rookie quarterback. That's just a horrible decision. But Mac Jones is now starting in the NFL. And also Trevor Lawrence for the Clemson Tigers is now the starter for Jacksonville. So you have these two teams both breaking in new quarterbacks. It doesn't matter. They're the best two teams.
It doesn't matter. They will just plug in a running back and they'll run the ball. And then they'll do enough check downs. You got wide receivers from God. Look at Alabama's wide receiver core that passed like 4 or 5 years. Listen, it's like all NFL first rounders, like every last one. Man. It's a machine.
De'Aaron King and the Miami Hurricanes are going to give Alabama all they can handle tonight. That new boy is going to be tested with that Miami defense.
You know what?
I would love to see that.
They got to go after it philosophy where they're going to rush that ball, so they're going to see if he's good under pressure. See, that's the thing. Nick Saban has always been good with his offensive line, but if his offensive line can't hold up against these guys who's coming in there on that bull rush, he's going to fold like lions.
And it's the first game, right? Like, you're talking about guys that you don't have a preseason in college football. And you're talking about brand new quarterbacks that have never played, having to come out and play good teams.
Yeah, but
immediately,
know what?
Like, that doesn't
matter. I would never
matter.
bet against Nick Saban. There's coaches that you just don't bet against. And Nick Saban's one of them.
Yeah, I agree.
You put all your money all in on Nick.
And you have all NFL players at the first and second string. That doesn't hurt.
That tends to not hurt. It's like Clemson.
They had one picture that they showed of Alabama practice from, I believe it was a couple years ago, where you had like Jaylen Waddle, Dante Smith, Henry Ruggs,
Yeah, all
and
NFL, yeah.
Jerry Judy, all in one picture. It's like
Yeah, it was
all these
it was like
dudes.
3 years ago. when they all was on the
Jeez,
same team.
like that's
Just put all your chips in.
That's insane. All those guys went like the top 10 of the NFL draft. Alabama had all those dudes.
And it is what
I don't feel like Miami's going to win, but I feel like they're going to give them a better chance.
I think for the first two quarters,
defense,
I think for the first half, Miami will give them a good run for the money. But for me, it all comes down to
Nick Saban is a master of
it's
adjustments.
not that. Miami, to be good,
Now don't give your pick. We got to save that to
I'm
the
going to
end.
give a pick. I'm going to say this. For Miami to be good, like Miami fans want them to be, you got to go back to what Miami used to do. You got to be the U. You got.
Hey, been looking for.
You got to be that
been looking for the
Miami
U
from like
since
the
the
80s. You got to be that Miami from that's who you are.
Haven, this man.
The U and the air raid.
Haven
He's
Harrington.
waiting on him to come back.
At
It's not gonna
ME
come back.
Sports
And Bell Bottoms.
on Twitter had the nerve on Twitter. We had a Twitter argument
Said
this
Bell
week.
Bottoms
Yeah,
is
we
back
did.
shit.
He said that the Miami has never gotten back since the 80s. And I'm like, bruh, they won a national
In 2000,
championship
yeah,
in
I'm going-
2000. How are you going to say
No,
they ain't been
I'm
back?
just saying though, they need that
He
swag.
wants that Benny and Brian Blaze stuff back.
Yes.
That's
That's what they need. They need Luke Campbell and his
He wants these
dancers
dudes coming
on the
in fatigues
sideline.
again. Right.
Yes, that's what they need. 'Cause
He
that's
said
what Miami is
Luke Campbell.
Miami. I mean, that's what they were Miami. That's what they were dominated with.
So let me
When
ask
the
you
guys
something.
try to be clean,
So
what happens to them? They fall
you
off.
want these college players back to watching strippers?
You want Jerry Curls
and
back
using
too,
coke?
Haven?
No, that's going too far. Now you're
But
going
that's
too
when the
far.
college players was using cocaine. On the low.
Have they stopped?
Not on the low, on the high.
I mean, have they stopped? That's the
What was it
question.
on, Will?
Extremely high.
Have they stopped?
Hey, look, that's why Michael Irvin's not allowed at any more hurricane games.
Hey,
They
you're
should
listening
keep him
to
away.
Hey, y'all are listening to the Main Event Sports Show. We'll be back on the Plug Network.
Stay plugged in.
And welcome back into the Main Event Sports Show. This is your co-host, Rashawn Myers, being joined is by my esteemed colleague.
I just want to say one thing before we go to
I'm
interview.
one of Haven's minions.
I do not condone the use of cocaine by college athletes
Not on
Way
the
to
high,
clean it
only
up.
on the low.
on the low.
Thank you, Haven.
It ain't no problem. So I'm going to put a disclaimer out there, but in all seriousness, we're just joking around. Honestly, for you to get back to the U, don't be afraid to be the bad boys of college football. Just embrace it.
He wants it back. You can't bring back them good old days. Those
No,
are
you
gone.
can't. That's gone. That's long gone.
Long gone forever. But hopefully for Fuente can put a.
But maybe you can bring the
product on
skinny
it.
jeans version back, whatever that is. I don't know.
Wow.
I don't
Not the
know.
skinny jeans.
Moving on.
But we are about to be joined by our esteemed friend of the Main Event Sports Show and one of the great contributors to our great writing side of the Main Event Sports Show. Miss Leanne Herring is going to be joining us on the line. She is our celebrity guest picker. She is a big-time avid follower and writer of the Ole Miss Rebels. She does awesome work for them as well as the NFL.
And the SEC Network. She does it all.
And the SEC Network. And she's also going to be our first celebrity guest picker of the season. Leanne, how are you doing?
Good. It's good to be back with my Main Event Sports family. I appreciate you having me on. I don't know if I'm quite celebrity status. Y'all are too kind, but I appreciate the nod.
You're absolutely a celebrity, Leanne. I forever and for always. So we definitely
You're former
appreciate
Miss Kentucky.
you.
How can you not be a celebrity?
Come on now.
Well, I said y'all are too kind. Y'all are like family to me. It's good to be back, as I say, in the old neighborhood. You guys gave me a good platform, radio start, covering Louisville and Kentucky, and letting me talk Ole Miss every once in a while. So I appreciate y'all.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's get down to it. So, Leanne, you're like the perfect guest for us to have for week one. Of course, Louisville taking on your Rebels. Just kind of talk about what are the biggest storylines or what are the biggest things that are the question marks, strengths, and weaknesses kind of Ole Miss as we get ready for this game on Monday night?
Well, you have two really solid QBs in Malik Cunningham, one of the best QBs in the conference in the ACC. And then, of course, on the SEC side of the thing, you have Matt Corral, undoubtedly one of the best quarterbacks. Already Heisman talk for him, the numbers that he put up last season. So you got really two productive quarterbacks that are really going to need both of their defensive front lines and also their backfields to really step up, for them to really produce and be productive. So let's talk about Louisville's quarterback Malik Cunningham. Last year, 109 completions on 304 attempts for 2,617 yards, 20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. On the opposite of the side, you have Matt Harrell, Ole Miss. In 2020, against all SEC schedule, he managed to become the 4th quarterback in SEC history to lead the nation in total offense per game, joining, Pat Sullivan, Johnny Manziel, who went on to win the Heisman, and Rex Grossman, putting up 231 for completions on 326 attempts, 337 yards, 29 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. Both these quarterbacks really productive. Even though they were really productive last season, the QBs both struggled on taking care of the ball per se. And a lot of Corral's turnovers, which is constantly brought up, were, and those 13 of them were in 3 games. And going back to Malik Cunningham, like I said, he's really a truly dual threat quarterback, and he's going to give the Rebels a lot of trouble, especially on the defensive end of things. Since I was on the radio with you guys, the defense for Ole Miss has been the Achilles heel for this team. Finally, they got Kiffin, they have Partridge, they're trying to rebuild, but the defense is really going to have to step up to stop Malik Cunningham. Even though he doesn't push the ball down the field a lot, he makes plays with his arm and his leg. Like I said, a real true dual threat quarterback. And he's also the leading return rusher, which you guys know. His rushing numbers last season, 131 carries for 609 per yard, on the ground for 4.6 per yard, 7 touchdowns. I mean, those are impressive numbers. So he really is productive. And he likes to run the ball about 11 times, we know, and he looks to, scramble and everything. So like I said, he's really going to create a lot of chaos. And this is really where the Ole Miss defense is going to have to step up. And I said, the storyline is going to be about 2 elite quarterbacks trying to be productive, but it's going to come down to the defensive front and the defensive backfield for both of these. When Louisville gets in that red zone, Ole Miss defense is going to have to be careful and going to have to keep a damn tight ship, as I like to say, because they don't want Malik Cunningham to run off with it, and they don't also want to have 2 of the Louisville Cardinals' top targets. You see, Cunningham doesn't have a lot of top targets, but he does have 2 solid top targets in wide receiver Braden Smith, who didn't have a super productive season last year with just 27 receptions in 11 games. But, he's had a lot of time in this offseason, and but he's very lethal through the air with Malik Cunningham. And then also another big name that you're going to watch out for is tight end Marshawn Ford at 6'2", 240. He's not a typical down the field player for the Cardinals, but in the red zone, again, he's a really threat player. 10 games, 25 receptions for 309 yards. So I really look for Malik Cunningham. If he's not running off with the ball, trying to scramble up that Ole Miss defense, he's definitely going to take those 2 top targets. Like I said, it's going to come down to defense. And as you guys know, Louisville's also a team that struggle with their defense. I have to say probably, and I don't know if y'all agree, their best player on defense right now, Monty Montgomery, 5'11", 225 linebacker, had some great numbers, 46 tackles, 7.5, for loss, 4 sacks and interception. But again, on that Louisville defense, and you guys have talked about it, several shows, there's not a lot of size on that D line. And with the kind of offense that Kiffin and Coach Levy run, and with Matt Corral in the arsenal, not that they just have it wide receivers, but more importantly, the Ole Miss running backs that we're going to hear a lot about in Ely, Snoop, and Parrish, they're going to have a field day on that ground if Louisville defense doesn't step up. And another weakness, when Corral takes it to the air, is the matchup size, because Louisville has a lot of undersized corners. Their 2 starting corners, they're nickel and dime guys. They're listed about 5'10". I think Chandler Jones, Control Clark, Jamal Starks, Grady Vance, all at 5'10". So that's going to be. They're really going to have to make a difference in their protection and stuff and their size. Like I said, going against those Ole Miss wide receivers and those running backs, but in particular on the Ole Miss side of the ball on offense, Mingo at 6'2", Saunders at 6'0", Drummond at 6'0" as well, 6 foot, and then with John Rice Plumlee in the mix. So there's a lot of factors, but like I said, it's going to come down, I think, mostly to the defense. Who can really get their quarterback to be productive and make big stops? And as much as this elite quarterback as Matt Corral is, he can only be productive if he can stop his defense. But if we want to look at the betting angle, the opening line was at 7.5 and favoring the Rebels. The line's now at about 9.5. I expect that probably to jump to 10.5. But I think it's, at the end of the day, as long as Ole Miss allows Matt Corral to take care of the ball and doesn't give up any explosive plays to Cunningham, because if he lets Cunningham get loose, or he gets able to get into his, two top targets on the air, on the ground, I think the Rebels are going to take this away with at least a 2-touchdown game. So I think, like I said, two really productive quarterbacks, but it's going to come down to whose defense can make the stops. And I think at the end of the day, as much struggle that the Ole Miss Rebels have had, the defense is going to step up and they're going to be able to take this. I don't think it's going to be a shutout game like everyone's thinking. Louisville has a strong footing. I just think that Ole Miss Rebels, with what they're coming into, especially Atlanta, that's more of a home crowd for the Rebels versus Louisville. I think that that's going to be a strong point in this game.
And I do have one question before I'll let you hop in there, Haven, or any of the other fellas. I did want to ask just about the wide receiver core. With losing Elijah Moore, 85% of the receptions, he was by far the bell cow for the offense through the air. They went to him early and often, a lot like Louisville used to with Devontae Parker. Is there any concern with the wide receivers there? Who are kind of the guys that we need to look out for that are going to kind of step up and be the new favorite targets for Ole Miss?
Well, you're going to see a lot of, as far as the receiving core I mentioned, they're your big guys. It's Mingo, Sanders, and Drummond. They're going to be a lot. You're going to see a lot of them as far as the wide receiver backfield. We're going to see them a lot. And John Rice Plumlee, he was doing some stuff, but now they're going to move him into the slot position. So that's going to be really interesting to see. He's going to be a new, playmaker. That's where they didn't have him this season. So they're going to be working with those four guys at wide receiver. But I think what we're going to see a lot that we didn't see as much last year is Levy and Kiffin really incorporating the running backs, especially Jaron Ely. If you haven't seen that boy's numbers, also plays baseball for the Rebels. He's a very one of our best running backs. Not only are we going to expect him, to run with the ball, and we're going to see a lot with him with the passing game as well. So we can expect that Ely, Snoop Connor, and Henry Parrish to be really, really big assets. So I think now they're going to move to the shift of not putting so much in Corral, but really going to those wide receiver cores because they got a lot of size on there. And like I said, really using their running backs with Jaron Ely and then Snoop and Parrish in there. So they're going to really try to put the pedal to the metal. And even though I hate to quote Texas, it's going to be all gas, no brakes for this Lane Kiffin offense.
There we go.
Man, a breakdown right there. Man, I'm telling you, I'm ready to put some money on Ole Miss.
Hey, I'll tell you what. Hey, but you know what? We have our picks. Everybody's going to go through and give their picks for the week. For this week one, we have 5 games that we're picking from: Georgia, Clemson, Alabama, Miami, Notre Dame at FSU, of course, UK, UL Monroe, and U of L, Ole Miss. I will go first just to get mine through. I think that Georgia, Clemson, I do like Georgia in that matchup. I think Clemson breaking in a new quarterback. I got to go with the Dogs. I think the Dogs get it done. Probably 24-17, something like that.
You're going with Georgia?
Alabama,
I'm
Miami.
taking Georgia. Alabama,
Next.
Miami. Give me Bama. They're just too talented. I think Alabama wins that game. Maybe not by 19, probably 2 touchdowns, 28-14.
How about you do the first two, and then the rest of us take turns? Because we ain't going to have enough time.
Notre Dame, Florida State. Give me Florida State at home in an upset. I think they knock off Notre Dame. UK beats UL Monroe by 1 billion. And I think Louisville gets close, but I think Ole Miss does win 45-42. Ole Miss.
40. Oh, man, you know what? I'm going to deviate from this whole discussion here. Your first game, Georgia, Clemson.
Yes.
I'm going with Clemson. I'm going to tell you why. Yes, Clemson has a new quarterback, but he played last year against Notre Dame and played very well. Georgia has been set by injuries, all sorts of injuries. So all the wide receivers are out. They got some defensive linemen out. You cannot come to the game hobbled and beat Clemson. Give me Clemson.
Nice. And we will see you all next week.
No, it's too soon, man. But like 5 minutes to go to the show, man.
We'll finish the picks after this break. You are watching Main Event Sports.
No, it's not break. We're rolling through to the end of the show, man. That's it. We're gonna roll on through to the end.
All right,
So we're good. So Alabama, Miami. Oh, yeah, give me Bama by 15. Easy. I think Miami keeps it close. And that's it. They'll keep it close to halftime. Alabama's too much. Notre Dame, FSU. I want to say FSU. I really want Mike Norvell to have like a good run at FSU. I want to see FSU come back. I think the ACC needs that other bellwether team outside of Clemson. And it has to be either Miami or FSU. Notre Dame, I've never been a fan of Notre Dame football. I've always thought they've kind of been pretenders. I think this game is actually going to be a little bit closer than people think. But I think for the first game of the season, with a lot of controversy, a lot of quarterback turnover at FSU the offseason, FSU in upset. I wasn't saying Notre Dame. No, I'm going to FSU in upset, even though they probably lose because it's FSU. UK, U of L Monroe, yeah, whatever. UK, by a lot. U of L Ole Miss, I think Louisville keeps it close. I think they score a lot of points. I don't think it's a 10-point game. I think Louisville keeps within 7. I think Ole Miss is deeper. They get it done.
Well, I'm going to go. Clemson has a lot of holes in their defense as well. So I'm going to take Georgia. I'm going to take Georgia in that game. I got 2 upset picks in this situation.
Uh-oh.
I feel Miami's going to upset Alabama.
What?
I feel they're going to
Put
upset
some money on that?
Alabama. You ain't got no money.
I'll find some for that bet.
Notre Dame and FSU, I'm saying FSU's going to take that. UK should walk over U of Louisiana Monroe. And I said U of L gives Ole Miss that upset.
My man, Leanne.
I like it. Yeah, what you got?
Awesome. No, really good, really good things. So Clemson, UGA, as much as I want to go with my SEC team and those dogs, I just think that JT Daniels, even though he's a strong quarterback, I think he hasn't gone up against a lot of elite defenses, and I know there's a lot of hole on Clemson, but I think that, DJ comes in strong as the Clemson QB, even though he's young. I think he does really well on the road, the numbers he put up against the Irish. So I'm going to go with Clemson by a touchdown against UGA. Let's see, Alabama versus Miami. Miami, Manny Diaz doing a heck of a job, especially on the recruiting trail. Miami might be back next season, but I think there's just no matchup against Alabama, especially at the linebackers. Alabama's bringing some good linebackers, almost matching those 1990s teams, the ones led by Barrel, Jesse Armstead, and Darren Smith. De'Aaron King's recovering from an ACL, and they might put in, Tyler Van Dyke. I think there's just too many holes for Miami. I got Bama, winning that game. I'm going to go with Bama on that one. Notre Dame, FSU. Notre Dame's, trying to replace their all-time leader quarterback with a Wisconsin transfer, Jack Cohen. Cohen's a really good game manager, but I think at the end of the day, there's too much of a mismatch, and I'm going to go with FSU for the upset. I just think that it's an emotional game. This Campbell Stadium is going to be real juiced up, especially, playing for Bowden. Being his first game since his passing. I'm hearing that they're going to use Mackenzie Milton a lot. The majority of the reps, it's going to be Jordan Travis because he's a healthier option. So I think there's a lot of things that FSU is going to be able to gel a lot better to the game. And I think Notre Dame, as good as they are, I just think that they don't have a lot to go with. And I'm gonna pick up FSU for that game. UK over Louisiana Monroe. I'm going to go with UK. Go Cats. And then for the last one, I agree with Haven. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to come down to production, but I'm going to pick the Rebels by a touchdown on that one. I don't think it's going to be a far blown out game.
There it is. Well, I'm going to go with Clemson, Alabama, Notre Dame, UK, and Ole Miss. And I can almost guarantee that I will probably have the best picks out of all of you when we come back this time next week.
Okay, there we go.
Because Stone Cold said
Because
so.
I said Leanne, I've never had the pleasure of meeting you in person, but It's been a pleasure having you on the show. You provided quite a bit of insight and your knowledge.
Thank you. Well, you guys you're always a good show. It's always a good show to watch. I was trying not to laugh at because, like I said, you guys have some of the most best entertaining sports show, and everybody should listen to y'all. Y'all have a great sports show. I'm glad to be back on it and hope to be writing some more for y'all and bringing you some NFL insight. And it's going to be. I'm glad college football is back.
Thank you so much, Leanne. Thank you.
Tune into Main Event Sports Show next week, Plug Network, 7 p.m. And without any struggle,
There is no progress.
peace.
Stay plugged in.